A door panel rips off mid-flight. Passengers grab their phones, screaming, as oxygen masks drop into a hole in the fuselage. This wasn't some low-budget airline in a country you've never heard of. This was Boeing, the most iconic aircraft manufacturer in American history, quite literally falling apart in the sky. And this wasn't a one-time glitch. This was a pattern. 2 737 MAX crashes, hundreds of dead passengers, whistleblowers turning up dead under mysterious circumstances, stock prices in free fall, congressional hearings where executives couldn't even explain their own safety protocols. While all of this chaos was unfolding in Seattle, something very different was happening 4,000 miles away in a quiet French city most Americans couldn't find on a map: Toulouse. No headlines, no congressional hearings, just factories humming along, quietly assembling the most successful commercial aircraft in the history of aviation. Here's the number that should terrify every American executive. Airbus now delivers more commercial aircraft every single year than Boeing. Not slightly more, consistently more, for years running. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how much of the modern world is quietly resting on French engineering. Now let's rewind, because to understand how a French city ended up controlling the skies, you have to go back to a moment when Europe was completely humiliated by American aviation. By the late 1960s, Boeing wasn't just winning, it was untouchable. American manufacturers controlled roughly 90% of the commercial aircraft market. Every European airline, from British Airways to Lufthansa, was flying American metal. European governments watched billions of dollars leave the continent every single year, and there was nothing any single country could do about it alone. So, they stopped trying to compete alone. In 1970, France, Germany, and eventually the UK and Spain did something almost unthinkable for rival European nations. They merged their aerospace industries into a single consortium. Airbus was born, not as a company chasing profit in year one, but as a political statement. Europe was done watching America dominate the skies. Their first real proof of concept wasn't even commercial. It was the Concorde, a joint French-British supersonic jet that could cross the Atlantic in under 3.5 hours. It never made serious money, but it did something more important. It proved, publicly and dramatically, that European engineers could out-innovate anything coming out of Seattle. Then, in 1974, Airbus rolled out its first real commercial aircraft, the A300. Boeing executives reportedly laughed it off as a subsidized science project that would collapse within a decade. They were wrong. Spectacularly wrong. Fast forward to today, and the numbers don't lie. In 2023 alone, Airbus delivered 735 commercial aircraft. Boeing delivered 528. Airbus now holds roughly 60% of the global narrow-body aircraft order book, the exact category of plane that makes up the backbone of commercial aviation worldwide. What Boeing built over a century, Airbus matched and then surpassed in about 50 years. Here's where the story gets genuinely insane, because Airbus doesn't build its planes the way you'd expect. It doesn't build them in one factory. It builds them across an entire continent and then flies the pieces together. Wings are manufactured in Broughton, Wales. The fuselage sections come out of Hamburg, Germany. Tail assemblies are built in Cadiz, Spain, and the cockpit sections come from Saint-Nazaire in France. 4 different countries, 4 different languages, 4 completely separate factories, all building pieces of the exact same aircraft simultaneously. And that is a story for next time. If this breakdown just changed how you look at every flight you take, subscribe to Business Shark. New video every week.